Howdy, this is Mackenzie Franklin from SideGame LLC here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. So I've been out of the loop for a little bit, totally missed this, but a viewer's comment pointed me in the right direction. There's a new hero announcement for Marvel Champions, and that's for Psylocke. I was thrilled to hear this news as Marvel Champions is my favorite game, and it seems like we're getting more stuff starting to come in with the release of the X-Force series. So looking forward to getting into this one. I have some predictions that I think there are probably going to be some more Psionic cards in here, but let's take a look at this together. I have not looked at any of these cards yet, and I've been waiting all day till I got home to do this video so that I can take a look with them here. So excited for this. Let me know what you think about these cards as we talk about them. I'm going to go through all of the cards revealed. I'm not going to read the article in detail or anything like that, but just take a look at the cards at face value and then go through them and then give my general opinions, thoughts, where they might end up in my overall liking of Marvel Champions, and then finish off with my card of the reveal, so the one that I'm the most excited to play with. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please make sure that you do. It is the best way to help us grow. And for those of you already subscribed, thank you so much for the continuous support. Let's talk about the newest released, I guess revealed, Marvel Champions Hero Pack. This is Psylocke. So let's get into the reveal here. I'll put myself on the side. And the article itself looks pretty cool. So the art style of this looks really neat, as you have some close-up shots with, I imagine, an event card and then the hero portrait themselves. So let's take a look. I like looking at just the basic cards here. We'll zoom in, and we have Betsy Braddock. So this is a hand size 6, hit points 10, 3 recovery alter ego, mutant psionic, so great. That means psionic tag on both sides. That's going to be something useful, I'm sure. Helpful with Cerebro. Psionic manifestation. Setup, put your 2 psi energy upgrades into play. Psi-Knife side face up. All right, this already sounds super fun. Okay. Action, exhaust 1 psi energy upgrade, shuffle a psionic card from your discard pile into your deck. Great. So we have interplay with all of the other psi, so it's going to be different based on which aspect you're playing. Ooh, so what do these psi energy upgrades actually do? I imagine they'll show us. But first, we have Psylocke on the hero side, 1/1 base stat line, 2 defense, psi energy control, interrupt when you use one of Psylocke's basic powers, thwart, attack, or defense, flip a psi energy upgrade. Okay, we got to see these upgrades. Hand size 4 on this side, hit points 10. So this must be incredible. I imagine maybe they draw or something when they flip. So let's see our Psi-Knives. Permanent, Psylocke gets +1 thwart. Okay, awesome. So you're going to have your stats modulated from the Psi-Knife, Psi-Energy, weapon, which is also cool. Hero resource, exhaust, Psi-Knife, generate a brain resource. You may flip this card. Wow, these are good. Okay, so right off the bat, you have passive stat buffs. You have resource generation. They have the weapon tags, so you can use them in tandem with aggression cards. Permanence, they're already on the board when you start. This is going to mean that your first turn is going to be super impactful. I'm looking forward to this already. And then after that, we have the second one, or is this the other side? So we have Psi-Knife and Psi-Katana. Okay, let's take a look. Psi-Katana, permanent, restricted. Psylocke gets +1 attack, and her basic attacks gain piercing. Hero resource, exhaust Psi-Katana, generate a punch resource. You may flip this card. So maybe the article will tell us, but I imagine this is on the other side of the Psi-Knife. That's interesting that it gains the restricted on this side, then loses it on the other. So I guess that makes sense. You have a knife that doesn't take as much space in your hands, and this one does, so you have to do more focus to actually utilize this. That's a really cool concept, and it's going to lean into those other things that care about restricted, so you might want to hold a holster just in case you are using 2 katanas in something else. I'm curious if she'll be able to manifest any other restricted psi cards, but definitely you have the flexibility of extra attack and extra thwart between the sides, and basic attacks gain piercing, super powerful, as like everything, every villain basically comes into play with toughness, and lots of enemies are doing that too, minions. Flurry of Blades, 3-cost event. Attack, psionic, hero action, attack, deal 2 damage to an enemy. For each Psi-Knife you control, choose an enemy and confuse it. Wow. Okay. So a little on the expensive side, but for that ability, kind of amazing. Confuse it. For each Psi-Katana you control, choose an enemy, deal 2 damage to it. Wow, it's versatile, powerful, flexible. It's a great card. It's not a superpower or anything, so you're going to have to probably pay full cost for it. But you're having the resource generating from your different weapons, so this seems like it'll work pretty well. You can use it for whatever you need. Finishing something off or setting up for a confused turn. Mental Detection, 2-cost event. Psionic, thwart. Hero action, thwart. Remove a threat from a scheme. For each Psi-Knife you control, remove 2 extra. Wow, 5 threat removal for 2. Or you can decrease it to get draw power. This is excellent. So everything here looks like it cares on the stances of whatever the weapons are, and then you can choose the potency. So you have just like straight power stuff here. You have confusion, you have draw, you have threat removal, and then you can modulate the amounts based on what you're actually wanting to do. Super good. Next, we have Psionic Redirect. So this is the defense version. When you would take any amount of damage from an attack, prevent 2 of that damage for each Psi-Katana, prevent 2 extra. For each Psi-Knife you control, confuse that enemy. This is insane. These cards are excellent. Okay. 2 cost event, brain resource. All right. And she's got 17 cards, I imagine, because of the katanas. Angel. This was the signature ally. 3 cost ally, Angel, Warren Worthington the third. 1 thwart, 2 attack. Response after you play Angel from your hand, ready your identity. So this is just a cheaper Lady Sif with 1 less thwart stat. This is pretty dang good. So anything that readies your character is generally going to be great, and seeing that you can shift the potency of your thwart or attack based on wherever your Psi-Katanas are, this is going to be perfect. So excellent. Angel is super solid, wild resource. 3 cost ally, 3 health, super strong. Weapons training, 2 cost upgrade, Psylocke gains retaliate 1. After Psylocke attacks, discard weapons training, ready each weapon upgrade you control. So this is not a forced interrupt, so you can decide when you actually want to use this. This can be used in tandem with the resource generation. It could be in tandem with any of your other abilities that exhaust weapons. Seems super powerful. And it doesn't necessarily have to just be the psionic weapon, so you can use this on anything. I like it. Seems really powerful. Captain Britain. Nice. Okay, so Psylocke's coming in as a justice hero. Unfortunate, I think, because seeing as she has so much confuse and her thwart removal card seems really powerful, I don't know if she actually needs to be in the justice trait because she seems to be controlling the threat pretty dang well. But anyway, let's dive into this. Captain Britain, 4 cost. Brian Braddock, 3 thwart, 3 attack with 2 consequential damage on each, 3 health. Aerial and Excalibur trait, which means maybe Black Knight stuff in the future. Does Black Knight even have Excalibur? I have a feeling that he doesn't. I think he's just an Avenger. Captain Britain takes -1 consequential damage after he thwarts a side scheme or attacks a minion. Okay, so I imagine that you're going to always want to do that because he's pretty expensive. 3/3 is pretty great, and you're going to get 3 uses. He's going to be one of those characters you're probably going to want to get those uses out of as opposed to blocking or chump blocking. And seeing that most of the scenarios are leaning towards that anyway with adding a lot of overkill and penalties if you have your people defend, I think that this is fine. I think it's a little expensive. Like we saw Gentle, which is quite similar, where he's taking less consequential damage if he's just attacking minions instead. But maybe that's because he's a leadership, and leadership generally are going to have stronger allies in general. So he's all right. This guy's okay. Next, we do Concussive Blow, featuring Captain Britain once more. 3 cost event, attack. Notice it is not psionic. Hero action, attack, confuse an enemy. If you paid... Oh, okay, this is the same card from Miss Marvel. You deal 3 damage. If you paid a punch resource, deal 3 damage. And confuse. So this is fine. I don't play this card very much anymore. This was like a pretty big staple early when there weren't a lot of options for confusion, but it is super dropped off after the first couple of sets had come out, and there were actually more options for confusion. I like the weapon upgrade that can just do an instant confusion. There's a bunch of great Guardian cards that do instant confusion. So I've been using this card less and less because confusion has not been as big of a deal. Getting confusion on stuff, because the cost is pretty high for the confusion stat, and the 3 damage is not that big of an incentive, I think, to use Concussive Blow. Still a fine card. I liked using this a lot in Miss Marvel because I think it came out with her because you were able to abuse your alter ego a lot. So don't see myself playing this card a lot, but cool. I think I prefer the artwork on the other one more. I think it's Jessica Jones, and she looks really cool in that one. Next, we have next card here is Psionic Training, 1 cost upgrade. Psylocke ignores the guard and patrol keywords. After Psylocke thwarts, discard Psionic Training, confuse an enemy. Yeah, here we go. This is another 1 cost, insta confuse. This is going to be your go-to. You're almost always going to put this out and use it if you need to. You'll be able to flip pretty much at will with Psylocke, which is kind of amazing because her hand size is way bigger in the alter ego, so you're going to want to be flipping constantly. I did not check. She's a mutant. Okay, she is a mutant on her side, which means she gets to benefit from all of the ridiculous mutant support. Okay, so that's pretty amazing. So she's going to be able to take advantage of all that neutral stuff. Get ready to see all the gray Psylocke decks with just using all of the neutral cards. Cypher, 2 cost ally. Doug Ramsey, 1 thwart, 1 attack, 2 health, X-Force. Okay. Response: after Cypher attacks and damages a confused enemy, draw a card. So are you actually going to want to trigger this? Actually, yes, because you're gonna want to attack the. Is it though? I guess if there's a tough status on the villain, you might want to do this. I don't know if this is worth it because you're not doing a lot with this attack, and Psylocke's attack have piercing anyway, so you wouldn't have to do any ping damage to the villain if they are confused. Maybe this is good. I guess it's not even a mutant. It's not a X-Men though, so you couldn't use the mansion on it for just additional card draw every round. Okay, I don't know how I feel about this card. So far, these allies have been pretty weak, unfortunately, from Psylocke's pack. Not looking forward to, except for Angel. Signature is very good, but I don't know how the applications of this one and if it'll actually be okay. Because it doesn't have the X-Men tag, you're not able to boost its health. It's not able to be that consistent card draw that I wish it would be. I think that this one probably won't get played very much, unfortunately. So Cypher is okay. 2-cost allies, fine. Fine replacement, but I don't know how often it's going to be useful. Next, we have Upside the Head, 1-cost event, skill. Hero response. After your hero makes a basic attack and damages an enemy, confuse that enemy. If that enemy is already confused, stun it instead. This card is excellent. So this allows you to be flexible in what you're actually doing with your confuse and your stun. So if you're reaching for a confuse and you just didn't happen to draw one, this is going to be great. But if they're already confused, you can benefit from it and make it stun as well, get the double condition. This is awesome. And also, if you're playing with steady characters, this will be an easy way to add additional confused statuses or start stacking up those stuns. This is an excellent card. Upside the Head. 1-cost event. So good. 2-cost upgrade. Float like a butterfly. Max under any player's control. Max 1 per player. Play under any player's control, max 1 per player. Interrupt. When a character you control attacks a confused enemy, increase the amount of damage that attack deals to that enemy by 1. This is kind of cool. There was a Venom deck that was out a while ago, Agent Venom, where you just used confusion as a condition that was passive. You didn't really care about the confusion, but it triggered all of your other cards. That was a lot of fun. So building up that archetype of just having your enemy dazed and confused and then taking advantage of that sounds like a lot of fun. And this will feed into that, making everything you do just a little bit more efficient. This is awesome. And seeing as Psylocke here could pretty much have the enemy always confused, this will be perfect. This card's really good. And it does say play under any player's control. So if you're doing that and you're playing multiplayer, you can throw float like butterflies around the other players, and then you're all benefiting from the confusion strategy that you're employing. Super powerful. 16, the power of the mind. Ooh, yes. Double the number of resources this card generates while paying for a psionic card. This is so cool. Resource card that opens up a new archetype. I would love to see more of this style of card in the future. Give me some that give you extra generation for X-Men type cards or X-Men allies specifically, or give me something for shield cards. Power of shield. Something like that. Power of Hydra. I don't think that you'd ever be able to do that, but super cool. I think this is awesome. This is going to be something that's going to be slotted in pretty much always when it comes to Phoenix, when it comes to Psylocke, anybody that can actually play the psionic cards. Now you can use this for Professor X, even if you are not psionic yourself. It's not max 2 per deck, so you're able to play 3 of these, which is kind of crazy. So that's a super big boon to the entire psionic archetype. I imagine that the psionic characters are going to go the route of mystics, where they're just going to get 1 card in every set that has a psionic until their pedigree is just ridiculously powerful. So you're going to start getting the meditation, but they also have the benefit that a lot of the psionic characters are also X-Men too. So this is kind of insane. Looking forward to this one. Next is Telepathy, 1-cost upgrade. Oh no, here's another one. 1-cost upgrade, Telepathy, Psionic superpower. Play only if your identity has the Psionic trait. Max 1 per player. Exhaust Telepathy. Spend 2 brain resources. Remove 2 threat from a scheme. Okay, not as ridiculous as I was expecting. So it gives you an option to always dump 2 things in to remove 2 threat from a scheme. So this is a resources while paying for a Psionic card. So I guess you can use the resource card for this because you're paying for it. It doesn't necessarily say to put it into play or for its effects. So I believe you can use that last card for this one. So I guess it works. I don't know how good this card is though, honestly. And we just saw with Psylocke, as well as Jean Grey herself, is ridiculously good at thwarting in general. So I don't know how often you're going to want to actually use this. It's fine if you have a odd one just kind of sitting out there, but I don't know if you're going to want to dedicate this card into your deck when it's already jam-packed full of all your other amazing X-Men support cards. Overall, okay card. And then last card here is Lay the Trap. Ah, yes, this is one of the extra the new player sides games, so the ones that you play from your hand onto the board. This one costs 1, lay the trap, victory 0, so it is removed after you complete it. The player who defeated the scheme deals 5 damage to the villain, and it's got 3 threat. So it's a 1-cost way to funnel threat removal into damage. I think this one actually could be pretty great, particularly in later stages of the game when you just need to deal big damage and your deck is like built towards thwarting, so you can like gear into that. And this is something you can just leave out there. So you don't even have to, there's no negative to leaving this on the board. So you can set it there, have it prepare, remove stuff from it pretty casually. And then when you're ready to do that final villain turn, when you're just doing all your big damage at the end, this card actually is pretty great. I like this one a lot. It scales with the number of players, which is awesome. I like stuff like that. And then, of course, the thwart's also going to scale it. But if you're really good at the thwarting, then this will be fine because you'll be able to more than make up for your gap when it comes to the hit points. So overall, looking at all of the cards, I think that there's some really cool ideas in here. We've got Betsy Braddock here. Anything I do want to quickly confirm on her psionic cards. So she starts with 2 psi energy upgrades in play. She can exhaust these to shuffle psionic cards from her discard pile back into her deck. That's only scratching the surface of what she can do. Okay, she is not an X-Men, so that's something to be aware of. Each of her psi energy upgrades is 2-sided. Their initial side is Psi-Knife. Okay, yes. So they are Psi-Knife on one side and they are Psi-Katana on the other. Okay, so we've got an idea. Now, looking at the entire package, I think that my favorite card from all of these, I think it's probably going to be, if I could, I would choose just her Psi-Knife and her Psi-Katana, but I think that's kind of more of the hero itself as opposed to the actual card. So let's go ahead and do this. For the hero, I think that these upgrades are by far the best and most interesting things in her set, but I think the best card in her set is going to be, that we've seen, I guess, is, I really like that one. This one's kind of absurd. So I'm going to choose Flurry of Blades if I can't choose the upgrades, because the upgrades are just way too flexible and too powerful. Flurry of Blades, though, is kind of amazing because of the flexibility of your multiple confusions. And as we saw with this archetype leaning into just having things confused, this allows you to deal the extra damage required to minions or the extra damage required to the villain, or just can ensure that everybody is safe for a certain amount of time. And you can do multiple confusions so you can get past steady, which is excellent. So I think that this is probably going to be the most powerful card, aside from just abusing the katanas in general. So pretty powerful stuff here. I like this one. And then for the aspect cards, for the justice aspect, I think I really enjoy this upside the head card, actually. I was going to pick the player side scheme because I think that's awesome. That just sits there and you can have it there in a reserve, be able to feed in some of your thwart removal, just have it sitting there willy-nilly. So I'll talk about that in a second as honorable mention. But upside the head seems thematic, cool, interesting, and it's doing stuff you already are enjoying doing. And if your character is really good at one side of the confusing stunning, it allows you to play into the other aspects. So this allows you to get stun in if you're really good at confusing. So I like this a lot. I think it's excellent. And then I will talk quickly about the lay the trap here. I think that's awesome. Just the fact that you can have it sitting there, there's no negative for putting it out there. So that's great that you'll have that thing that you can feed in your thwart removal into. Reminds me a lot of Captain Marvel with how you can just pay lightning resources to stack up damage. Very similar with this. If you have extra thwart, you can put it here and eventually convert it into damage. And then, of course, I want to shout out this last card. Oh, whoops. I want to shout out the last card, the resource card, because this is just an excellent concept in general. Having cards that are resource generation for specific archetypes. This allows you to more reliably play these more powerful cards. As you saw, that one was 3 cost for a really good event, but it didn't really have any other tags that were going to be helpful for it. So Power of the Mind allows you to play your player skills psionic cards, which is great. So looking forward to that. And then this will be applicable to every aspect, so it's not locked into a specific color either. So looking forward to this. I think that all of these cards are pretty interesting when it comes to the heroes flipping back and forth, playing into these new mechanisms. I think that there were some sort of generic ones as well. We've seen some repeats as well, so not super excited for that. But overall, Psylocke's manipulation of her different psychic energy weapons sounds like a lot of fun to me. And I'm curious what you think. What were your favorite cards that you saw during this reveal? Overall, are you looking forward to the X-Force in general? Are there any other characters that are on their way that you're looking forward to? I know we puzzled out that Nightcrawler and Deadpool were going to be the next reveals on the last one, but I am looking forward in general for what X-Force they're going to be putting up forward. How does this contend with Domino or Cable? In general, what are your thoughts on this new X-Force expansion wave that's coming out? But thank you so much for watching. Curious to hear what you thought about everything, and thank you for being here at Side Game Strong, y'all.